Bentornati a tutti!
Buon pomeriggio a tutti! Beh, oggi è il nostro ultimo pomeriggio insieme.
Sì, Roberto, un pomeriggio che sa di futuro.
Un pomeriggio che non parla solo di idee.
Sì, ma scelte concrete che siamo chiamati a fare. Prima però c'è un messaggio promozionale.
Esattamente, molto importante, ascoltiamo tutti attentamente. In fondo al teatro troverete un banchetto che vende due tipologie di palline, come illustrato da Silvia. Una verde con una frase di Don Bosco, studia di farti amare, e una bianca con la frase di Madre Mazzarello, amatevi tra voi con vera carità. Il ricavato della vendita di queste palline favorirà la partecipazione dei salesiani cooperatori del Medio Oriente al meeting dei 150 anni dell'associazione che si terrà a Roma Sacrofano dal 31 luglio al 2 agosto di quest'anno. Confidiamo quindi nella vostra grande generosità.
Hai detto bene, Roberto. Un'altra domanda, Roberto, ma tu sai che la famiglia salesiana è veramente grande, ci sono tantissimi gruppi.
Tantissimi, più di 30.
Sì, che ne dici di chiamarli ad uno?
E allora chiamiamoli.
Iniziamo. Ancelle del cuore di Maria Immacolata. Grazie.
Apostole della Sacra Famiglia.
Associazione Damas Salesianas.
Associazione dei Salesiani Cooperatori.
Associazione di Maria Ausiliatrice.
Comunità Canson Nova.
Comunità della Missione di Don Bosco.
Confederazione Mondiale degli ex allieve di Don Bosco.
Confederazione Mondiale delle Allieve e Allievi delle FMA.
Congregazione delle Suore Annunciatrici del Signore.
Congregazione delle Suore della Resurrezione.
Congregazione di San Michele Arcangelo.
Discepoli.
Figlie dei Sacri Cuori di Gesù e di Maria.
Figlie del Divino Salvatore.
Figlie della Regalità di Maria.
Figlie di Maria Ausiliatrice.
Fraternità Contemplativa Maria di Nazareth.
Salesiane Oblate del Sacro Cuore.
Salesiani di Don Bosco.
Suore Catechiste di Maria Immacolata Aiuto dei Cristiani.
Suore della Carità di Gesù.
Suore della Regalità di Maria.
Sisters of the Regality of Mary.
Di Don Bosco.
Sisters of the Visitation of Don Bosco. Daughters of Jesus Adolescent.
Suore di Maria Auxiliatrix.
Daughters of Mary Help of Christians.
Arcangelo Michelite.
Daughters of St. Michael the Archangel, the Michaelites.
Della pace.
Sisters who mediate peace.
Dei Cristiani.
Testimoni del risorto.
Volontari con Don Bosco.
Volontarie di Don Bosco.
Bene, siamo veramente tantissimi, un forte applauso a tutti noi.
Un applauso alla nostra grande famiglia.
So let's give it up with a nice round of applause for all the member groups of the Salesian family. What's up next, my friends?
Un po' di
So,
pace
let's
perché
see.
stiamo facendo il percorso per far parte anche noi di questa.
We're a little bit biased for this next group because we're in formation.
Grazie.
Thank you. We're in formation as, let's call up first the World Coordinator of the Salesian Cooperators, Antonio, with the group of the Salesian Cooperators who will lead the next moment for us. Nice round of applause.
Venite.
Come on, friends, join me.
È una squadra, non è un'equipe.
This is a great team. Look at these people.
Buon pomeriggio.
Good afternoon, everyone, and from all of my fellow cooperators here on stage.
Avete già intuito di che cosa?
You will have understood what group we are. We are the Salesian Cooperators. And the topic of our discussion, this first part of the afternoon, which it's my pleasure to introduce, is the roots of the Salesian Cooperators. We've heard many times throughout this day speaking about the important anniversary that is happening this year in 2026, the 150th anniversary of the founding of the Salesian Cooperators.
In realtà, per essere più precisi, noi
Let me be more precise. We're speaking about the foundation, but that date per se, 9th of May 1976, is the date of a document with which Pope Pius IX recognized and blessed
allora Pia
the Pious Association of Cooperators, as it was known back then. And so it's the official recognition by the Pope
e una benedizione,
and a blessing from the Holy Father, from the highest authority of the Church.
ma possiamo
But
dire che
we can say that
il cuore
the existence of the cooperators in the heart and the mind and the works of Don Bosco, the cooperators already existed for many, many years.
ed è per questo
And it's for this reason that today we want to offer you
in un percorso che
a little excursus on the development of the Salesian Cooperators from the roots of Don Bosco's imagination, his dream for the cooperators, to explain what is the life and the vitality of this association of cooperators today in the world. And then from that basis, what the future could look like, especially
a seguito del congresso
in
mondiale che è
as a result of the future World Congress, which is going to take place 4 months from now. So this is the topic of our afternoon session. To get us going, I would like to call to the microphone Icalo Panaretti, who is currently the counselor for the World Council for the Cooperators of the Middle East, Malta, and Italy, who will introduce the development through history of the cooperators.
Prego, Italo.
Italo, to you the floor. Thank you, good afternoon.
Siete pronti per questo viaggio?
Are you ready for this adventure?
Allora, è un viaggio che ci porta
So this is a trip that takes us 150 years into history. So think of it as a trip. Get yourself comfortable, fasten your seatbelts, we're about to take off. The Association of Salesian Cooperators is a group of the charismatic family of Don Bosco, 150 years old. The prophetic dream of Don Bosco continues, and it continues because it has strong roots and a rich history to set us forth on a journey that is 150 old, because on 9 May 1876, we're working towards our 100th anniversary. At the beginning, Don Bosco gives a conference to the cooperators on May 16th, 1878 in Turin. Don Bosco speaks to us of this episode.
Un poco alla volta, vari
Slowly,
benemeriti ecclesiastici si unirono.
some distinguished clerical members of Turin joined our work and contributed in key ways to the oratory, who preached, who heard confessions, who gave catechetical lessons. These contributors, however, were not enough. As the needs of the oratory grew, regarding the schools and school fidelities and Sunday schools, some priests, the number of priests we had was insufficient. And that's why many other people took our project to heart. It was divine providence that sent these people to us. And by virtue of their contribution, we were able to do so much more good for the boys. These first cooperators, Salesian cooperators, clerical members, but also lay people. They didn't worry about the difficulties and the demands, which were great, but rather they saw how their efforts could help so many young children in need. Without our outreach, these boys ended up in the streets, and so these lay people and priests got together to help us for the salvation of young people. They accepted to abandon all the comforts of their home to come to the oratory not just every Sunday, but every day of the week.
Io ho avuto bisogno di tutti.
Don Bosco said, I always needed everyone.
Quel piccolo piazzale diventò questa
The
chiesa
little piazza
nel 1852.
where the oratory started became a church, the Basilica, in 1872, which became the center of the work for young people. Thanks to the cooperators, Don Bosco's project was able to flourish. 1878, says Don Bosco to his collaborators.
1858.
1858,
Riunire insieme i
Don Bosco united his Salesian SDB members, but also his lay collaborators. He has an idea of how to found the eventual congregation. In 1858, he presents a first draft, but it wasn't accepted by the Holy See. And so Don Bosco tries again in 1860, tries again 3 years later in 63. Finally, 64, approval comes. I had to cancel many of the articles of my draft in order to come in line with the criteria for an institute of external members. This was the advice of the church official, Brother A. Savini. So our history continues. In 1858, the Salesians as a congregation are founded. 1872, the Daughters of Mary Help of Christians. 1876, the Cooperators. Let's keep this keep this name in mind. Salesian Cooperators. Salesian Cooperators. Keep this name before you. Now, some unique details. 150 years have passed since May 9th, 1876. External Salesians, as Don Bosco called them, in the secular world, lay people, according to their own conditions of life. We represent a church that goes out. The association has developed a lot over the years because there have been different times in history that this congregation, this group has confronted. Think, for example, of Vatican Council II, updating the church, updating the way the church engages with the world, opening a dialogue with all people of faith and of no faith. Some important benchmarks since since Vatican Council II. Our renewal process began in 1976 with the approval of our new regulations for apostolic life. In 2012, at a World Congress, the Holy See approved our new texts. 2013, we got the official definitive approval of the Project of Apostolic Life by the Holy See. This was the process that has renewed us over the past 150 years. But remember, I told you to keep the name present. Cooperator Salesians. Why? Because we distinguish between that and Salesian cooperators. It's not just a play on words here. It's not a name change, but an evolution in the awareness of our identity, our vocation, and our charism. So we speak no longer of Salesian cooperators, but cooperator Salesians. In our project of life, our spiritual identity card indicates the way to live as Salesians in the world. In these many years, we have grown in number and also in the number of presences in the world. But perhaps the most important, or something that's important, is the maturing of the awareness of our vocation as lay people in the church, who are responsible for various projects in the church,
pastorale specifica e
responsible in our own right to carry on apostolic activity in the church, in the name of the church. And so what are some expressions of this identity? First, we are an association. In 1876, Don Bosco defined this clearly in his constitution.
il regolamento dei cooperatori salesiani, che Don Bosco scrive successivamente, poi fu approvato dalla Chiesa.
Were eventually updated and approved by the church. Today, the cooperator Salesians are present at the world level.
Un'identità carismatica.
This charismatic identity is what our project of life calls us, Article 2. The cooperator Salesians have a unique vocation in the church, committed as Salesians who are cooperators to respond to their vocation as apostles of the Salesian mission.
L'articolo 5.
Article 5 from our project of apostolic life. Our charism is in the Salesian family. The Association of Cooperator Salesians is a member group of the Salesian family.
L'identità canonica.
The canonical identity of the cooperators. The association in the church, in our promise, we say we will be witnesses of in our local church, but the association of cooperative Salesians is approved by Rome as a public group of faithful, and it participates in the spiritual patrimony of the Society of St. Francis de Sales, that is the SCVs. The members of the cooperator Salesians participate actively in the name of the church, under the authority of the Rector Major, as successor of Don Bosco, in a spirit of faithfulness to the bishops of the church and church authority, all the way up to the Pope. This is our juridical understanding within the church documents. And so the cooperator Salesians express a filial devotion to the Holy Father, and the association,
andiamo a scoprire l'identità civilistica.
Our civil identity.
Per noi è molto importante.
And this is very important for us. It's important for our important in daily life, in civic life, where we are founded, wherever we live in the world. Active in society, we represent our Salesian charism, and most of all, our being cooperator Salesians in the world, even through
nella realtà socioculturale.
Our social cultural contribution. We participate responsibly in the social life, in society, in the fields of culture, economy, and politics. We put emphasis on the dimension of the ethical values in culture. We strive to insert ourselves into the cultural structures of our cities, unions, social, political movements to encourage the common good.
Come siamo organizzati?
How are we organized?
Siamo poco più di 30
We are about 30,000 in the world, 122 countries, organized in 11 regions. We'll take a look at the regions. They exist. And we ask you, if you are a Salesian from that region, raise your hand. So Africa, Madagascar, 10 provinces, 800 plus cooperators.
Ci sono salesiani cooperatori di questa regione?
Any cooperators from Africa?
Regione America Cono Sud.
The next region, America, South Cone, South America, 8 provinces, 800 cooperators, 104 centers. Any Salesians from South Cone?
Andiamo avanti. Regione Interamerica.
Inter-America, Canada, USA, Haiti, Mexico, 9 provinces, 251 cooperators, 159 centers.
Regione Brasile.
The Brazil region, 6 provinces, 1,200 plus members, 84 centers.
C'è qualcuno del Brasile? Regione Brasile? Pacifico, Caribe Sud.
Pacific Caribbean region, South, 6 provinces, over 1,000 members, 108 centers.
C'è qualcuno Pacifico, Caribe Sud?
Anybody from this region?
Regione
The Asia South region, 9 provinces, 2,100 members, 119 centers.
Regione Asia Sud.
Asia South, 11 provinces, 1,600 plus members, 101 centers.
Regione Europa.
Central Europe, 5 provinces, 771 members, 73 centers.
Regione Iberica.
Spanish region, Spain and Portugal,
7 province.
7 provinces, over 2,000 members, 112 centers.
Regione Europa Centrale Est.
Europe, Central and East Europe, 9 provinces, 300 plus members, 129 regions.
E terminiamo con la regione
South Italy and Malta,
14 province,
14 provinces, over 6,000 members, 222 centers. That's how we're organized now. How do we animate and govern this population of cooperators? Our rector major is our supreme authority.
Insieme al
Together,
si avvale del Consiglio mondiale
with the general counselors for the cooperators,
livello provinciale,
we have then province levels, and finally
centro locale,
our local
livello
center,
locale da dove parte tutto.
where really the work takes place.
Questa è la nostra segreteria esecutiva mondiale.
These are the people who are part of our World Council: Sister Lucrezia Uribe, Antonio Boccia, Duke Nam
Nguyen, il
Nguyen,
nostro delegato,
our delegate to the council, Raul Fernandez, one of our administrators,
nostro archivista
Giuseppe Cerazone is our archivist,
Pellegrino,
and Caro
è il
Pellegrini is our secretary.
Questo è tutto il Consiglio mondiale a Roma.
This is the council worldwide level for the cooperators.
Ho terminato questa prima parte con
So this ends the first part of our study.
di famiglia con voi, soprattutto salesiana.
Bene, bene, grazie Italo per questo bel quadro.
Thank you, Italy, for this walk around the block about the roots and the current organization of the Worldwide Association of Cooperator Salesians. At this point, what do we want to do? Let's all listen to a few witnesses that are offered by various Salesian cooperators. And so to do this, I call upon Raul to lead these brief interviews with these witnesses.
Abbiamo esaminato l'origine della
So we looked at the roots of the growth of the council from its origins, and here are 2 witnesses that represent them.
La prima è Noemi.
The first witness will be Naomi.
In un minuto,
In 1 minute, you have 1 minute.
qual è l'origine della
What is the origin of your vocation as a cooperator?
Buonasera a tutti.
Good evening.
L'origine della mia vocazione
My vocation begins in my family, which has long roots in the Salesian family. My grandfather was a past pupil of the Salesians. My father-in-law was from Thailand, past pupil, and so my parents were always immersed in a Salesian environment, and so they sent me to a Salesian sister school, and so I was born a past pupil. As I grew up,
trovato il mio sbocco naturale.
I found my vocation blossomed as a cooperator, and so my vocation as a Salesian grew over time with me, having had such a strong environment where I grew up that was marked by the Salesian charism. They led me in my formation, masters of my spiritual life, and so my choice was well guided, well supported. I chose to become a Salesian cooperator in the world because cooperators are true Salesians in the world. And this is our vocation, a vocation which is freely chosen, which gives a particular imprint and importance to our life. And so as a wife, as a mom, and now as a grandmother, I continue to be a cooperator Salesian. And among other things, what do? I'm a catechist. We work in formation, me and my husband, who's also a cooperator. We work with young married couples to nurture their growth as Christian couples. There we are.
Questo vale anche per mio marito, chiaramente, non solo per me. E quindi ecco, abbiamo 7 nipoti.
We have 7 grandchildren, 2 kids, and so we continue to witness to the gospel in Don Bosco's spirit in the heart of our family life, offering young people, wherever we meet them, our charism,
di quello che possiamo dare, la nostra presenza,
our active presence, our listening, our experiences, our closeness to them on the journey. Clearly look at them close in the eyes and sharing our love.
Molto grazie Noemi por la tua.
Thank you, Naomi, for this testimony.
Molto grazie. Contamos también con nosotros con Alfonso.
We listen now to Alfonso, is a diocesan priest who's a cooperator, and so he will tell us how his Salesian vocation was born.
Bien, pues me preguntaban por el origen, ¿no? Un poco.
They asked me how my vocation was born.
Más que un momento puntual.
It was a precise moment.
Como nace mi vocación
like any vocation grows.
Más que eso, yo pienso que es una experiencia.
Rather than a particular moment when I became a Salesian, there was a series of experiences over growth. I would frequent the Salesian house and the sisters' house in Seville, Spain. That's where I was exposed for the first time to their spirit in the oratory, community center. And I experienced this particular way of living the gospel in the Salesian charism, in a spirit of joy and welcoming.
Desde la humildad también.
The humility that they witnessed to me. And this humility, especially of the Daughters of Mary, Help of Christians, my vocation grew from the witness of the Salesian sisters, those who marked me most deeply are already in heaven with God. And this marked me very deeply. Let me share one moment that was particularly important for my vocational journey. It was the generosity and commitment of these sisters.
Es ahí donde, después de pasar mucho tiempo, muchos años, donde he visto que
over many years I saw that the Salesian charism was open to me even where I was living, where I was working among the people.
Es donde intento transmitir el carisma de Don Bosco, el carisma de
I could see that I had the Salesian charism, which inspired me, and so I deepened my knowledge of the Salesian youth ministry and poor people. And here I am.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you.
Paso la parola a Carlo di nuovo.
Bene, grazie Raul e grazie per queste testimonianze dal vivo. Proseguiamo.
Let's move on. The dream of Don Bosco. It continues. Don Bosco's dream continues today. And this second part then of our presentation
Vogliamo offrire una presentazione
is a presentation of the dream and the vitality of our association today, with a particular reference to the 3 years that we're currently in preparation for the 150th anniversary.
Questo ce lo propone Borja Perez.
Borja Perez will lead us in this, who is the World Counselor for the Spanish region. Borja, take it away.
Buon pomeriggio a tutti.
Good evening, one and all. The journey continues. Live witnesses.
Per testimoniare a livello personale ogni salesiano cooperatore è la nostra vita quotidiana.
For us cooperators, daily life is our teacher. And so we want to witness to how we live our charism in daily life. Let me tell you what our association is doing as a group this year worldwide, this 3-year formation process towards the anniversary. This journey is not just an anniversary, it's an occasion for us to rediscover who we are, from where we come, and where we need to go. 3 verbs, remember, renew, and relaunch. 3 words that will help us to rediscover our identity and to embrace the future. This identity is born in a dream that becomes concrete through our promises and that looks to the future with hope. A dream, a promise, and a future. So this is the journey we're on right now. First, why 3 years of preparation? We'll look at the proposal we've given us and the theme for each of the 3 years of our itinerary to conclude with another testimony. So let's jump right in. Why a 3-year itinerary of preparation? This 3-year preparation was born of our desire to celebrate not just an anniversary, but to live a conversion experience. Years ago, we had the possibility to experience with the Salesians their preparation for the 200th anniversary of the birth of Don Bosco. Then a few years ago, the 150th anniversary of the Salesian Sisters, and we wanted to kind of mirror that. We wanted to do not just a big celebration, but a journey of conversion and a rebirth of our roots for the future. Why? Because memory has to become fruitful only if we share it, only if we know it, only if it's translated into concrete commitments.
Facciamo questo anche in stile sinodale.
We're doing this in a synodal style, trying to grow in harmony with the sensitivities of the Church. So we are working throughout the 11 regions with all the various level groups. And so this is a new process for us to go forward. This in itself is a big preparation. What is then the proposal we've given ourselves? This proposal was born at the level of the World Council in 2023 in Rome, when we proposed this itinerary. It's a simple itinerary, 3 words, 3 years, but with a lot of substance, a clear idea. We want to remember the dream, the first year. Renew our promise in the successive year.
Rinnovare una promessa l'anno scorso 2024.
And then relaunch the mission this current year.
Rilanciare il futuro, la nostra missione questo anno 2025.
And the logo tries to summarize all of this.
Il 9 maggio al nostro 150° anniversario.
So our deadline date is May 9th this year, the date of our anniversary.
Rinnovare e rilanciare un sogno, una promessa del futuro, e questo è il motto anche molto semplice con la
So the motto, very simple, summarizes this whole objective.
Primo anno,
the first year, remembering the dream.
Una promessa del futuro, ma un sogno ricordare.
Remembering the dream, we have to remember it. We have to know it.
Abbiamo pensato di evidenziare.
We thought it would be good to emphasize in the first year some essential qualities: synodality, the sense of belonging, the worldwide scope, universality of our vocation, communication, social communications, and a look back to our origins, to be faithful to them. Synodality demands that we become ever more sensitive to the processes that are transforming the Church, working in tandem in the spirit of synodality. And so, for example, the logo was chosen by everybody. We had many testimonies that were shared by many of our members. And then on December 8th and 9th, there was a time to pray together, events that were online, using social media to create new forums in which we could work in a more synodal way.
E anche abbiamo fatto in sinodalità alcune preghiere, 8 dicembre, 9 maggio, preghiamo insieme, formato online, per tutte le associazioni, per tutti i cooperatori e tutte le cooperatrici. Questa è la cartella dell'evento.
This was the poster of the event. Okay, here we have the logo.
Un logo generale.
This is the logo for the whole 3-year phase. And then we have a logo for each of the 3 years.
Per il primo anno è molto similare al logo generale. Secondo aspetto di questo primo anno.
The second priority of this first year was nurturing the sense of belonging across the globe, making more visible in the world our association.
Ai suoi centri.
Sometimes members live far away from the center of their region. How can we create a greater sense of communion and membership?
L'organizzazione dell'associazione, secondo il nostro PVA, il nostro progetto di vita apostolica, è precisa perché Dobbiamo essere efficaci alla missione, ma anche
We wanted to emphasize why we had to be focused on our mission, but also conscious about the ways we can create community spirit and communion among ourselves. So the World Council came up with this proposal, but it's for the entire worldwide community of cooperators. We're also striving to give more visibility to the leaders at the world level, so everybody can know who the General Council is. We've launched also a newsletter, which is published the 9th of every month. And so all of this to nurture our sense of belonging to a worldwide organization. The third aspect of our priorities is universality, a worldwide embrace. Our vocation is worldwide. So this requires working in many languages, adapting to different cultural sensitivities, and to reflections on the universality of our approach, of our mindset, of the way we act. Another aspect was our communication, social communication at the service of animation. And so to this end, we launched a YouTube channel with 300 videos already accessible. We updated our website. We have a Facebook page, ways to create communion around the world. The most important thing of the first year, remembering the first year, remembering the original dream and deepening our commitment. So the next point is looking at our origins, the origins of our vocation, the people who to whom we're indebted for bringing us here, our faithfulness to our Salesian cooperator vocation, and the dream of Don Bosco, which wants to live through us and well into the future.
È un sogno di Don Bosco per tutti, anche per noi, e che ci invita a sognare insieme il futuro. Questi 5 aspetti chiavi.
So these 5 dimensions were the priorities for the first year. Let's go ahead to the second year, 2024-25. The theme here was renewing our promise. So we had a modified logo.
La stessa idea, ma
the same essentially, but we changed popes. We put John Paul II in place of Pope Leo of Pope Leo XIII. Because it was Pope John Paul II who approved our new and approved constitutions. Events. In 2024, we launched the year online.
Abbiamo anche motivato l'anno della promessa.
So what did we do? We had different means of social media to remind people of the events that we had lived in the first year, invite people to participate in the current year's events, and then the many ways we challenged ourselves to recommit to the dream.
La cosa più importante del secondo.
The most important part of the second year was our project of apostolic life, which was renewed. So our constitutions, if you will, were renewed. We created a formal letter of presentation within the church to the world.
E anche la nostra lettera di presentazione nella Chiesa e nel mondo. Sempre attuale perché
so always up to date, because we keep finding new ways to respond in a contemporary way to the needs of today in the spirit of yesterday. This also became an instrument of communication for all members of the association worldwide. Something else we did, we formed some, we developed some formation themes in the spirit of solidarity, of synodality. So a few regions collaborated together to develop each of the themes. Each block of reflection was entrusted to various regions so that the product was indeed a worldwide endeavor.
Secondo, preparato de Italia, Medio Oriente, Malta e la regione Europa Est, la promessa. Terzo tema, preparato della Iberica, America Conosciuta e Brasile, la dimensione laicale.
So you can see there are the 3 different themes, 2 more. Each of these themes was developed by a different region of the cooperators worldwide, 2 or 3 regions working together to develop each of these 5 themes. And so we do formation together, we update our identity card together, and we come therefore to this 3rd year, this current year, 2025-26, relaunching, looking into the future. Even here, we began with an online event, as we had done in the 2 previous years. This was the itinerary, knowing to relaunch, knowing so we can launch again. A future that's creative, but faithful to our roots. This is very similar to the dynamic that the Strena takes in the wedding of Cana reflection. Look, interpret, decide, and act. And so, why this priority? Well, the first year, how we developed it. We remembered what we did, and so the first year there was memory and witnesses. 2nd year, renewing our identity card. 3rd year, the relaunching of our mission. There was a worldwide congress. There will be a worldwide congress this summer in which we will focus on our strategy for the future in the light of our current reality. We will propose points of departure for 2026 tonight to 2032. In what I've tried to explain, we can see the current context of the church. We have to see how we as cooperator Salesians, how can we be actively involved in the mission of the church today? 3 things step out: the socio-political situation, the church reality, and the difficulty that the association is facing within these 2 contexts, socio-political and ecclesial. All of this also is proceeding in a synodal style. All of this is contributing to the World Congress that will come up next May. We will present a relation on the current state of the association. In preparation, 3 webinars. Each event will host 4 regions in which one relator from each region will present a particular reading of the situation in his situation, socio-political, ecclesial, and the association. Prior to this, there will be a synodal work at the heart of each region to see how we're doing, what's going on. We can't give proposals to challenges if we don't know who we are and how we're situated. So the first 2 webinars have been already realized. Because of the worldwide demographic, we have to deal with time zones, which adds a new challenge. So in November, the 4 America regions. 2nd webinar was Africa and Europe. And December, the last one in March, will be the Anglophone regions of Europe and Asia and Africa. And so, we'll end this part of the presentation of walking together as an association towards our 150th anniversary into the future with the same dream of Don Bosco, faithful to his promise, with hope for the young people and for the world. Wow.
Grazie.
Spanish talk fast.
Bella presentazione.
Thank you for this panorama. You can see this is more than just a list of things done. It conveys a spirit and the priorities and the passion of the cooperators, how they're living these 3 years to really take advantage of the 150th anniversary.
Adesso proseguiamo.
Let's go on. We have a few more testimonies to share. And so, Raul, please.
Questo è un cammino dell'associazione, un percorso molto bello.
The association is constantly in motion,
Comienza a livello personale, con una decisione.
which it's worldwide, but it comes down to each individual person who makes a promise. And so we call Enzo and ask him, what does it mean for you to make a promise of life as a cooperator? They gave me a minute, so I wrote things down so I can stay on time. To be a Salesian cooperator today means living the gospel wherever life has put me, near young people, with families that are part of my life, whom I meet every day, especially those who are burdened with integration to society or hungry for hope. Being a cooperator means taking care and accompanying others so that the good that is possible will grow consistently over time and recognize its growth even in silence. As a cooperator, I strive to grow personally as a man through the simple work I do, the responsibilities I carry, and the ways I do it, so that encountering people will be an encounter with the gospel. The promise to Don Bosco for me is not just a nostalgic memory. Rather, it is a fresh, every day I live the promise I made 40 years ago, and I'm sure it will sustain me until my last breath. I try to live my promise every day, wherever I'm involved in the world, with my feet very firmly planted in the world, but with a view to the future, allowing my heart to be guided and educated by the dream of Don Bosco. Thank you, Enzo.
Contamos con nosotros con Antonio, al cual le
Antonio, please.
que nos diga qué es la promesa en su vida cotidiana.
What does the promise mean to you?
Soy Antonio Lloret, salesiano cooperador de la
I'm a cooperator
Plaza Castilla,
from Plaza Castilla in Madrid.
con 2 hijos y mujeres cooperadoras. La promesa.
The promise.
La promesa para mí es un punto
For me, it's a point of reflection. It's the end of a phase and the beginning of another, a constant journey. But there are distinct phases. There's the formation phase of knowledge gathering, of training, with all that goes with it. You have to know where you've been if you're going to figure out where you have to go. Joy, being with people, always recognizing that we're called to grow.
Que quieres ser, pero hay miedo.
Learning how to serve. And so the learning phase is important for human growth. Numbers don't matter. It's each individual commitment that matters.
Comienzo de otra etapa dentro del camino. No tiene por qué ser.
The next phase of this process is to deepen the first one. Slowly, it becomes more integrated in who you are and what you do.
Hay que ser digno de ser. Lo que significa que hay que formarse.
It means to be in constant formation, taking responsibility for my own formation, being responsible, be available for education, and most of all, to be coherent, to live what I believe, to walk the walk and not just talk the talk, to be coherent with my being and my doing. This, therefore, is a journey which lasts a lifetime. And when one makes his promise, he realizes that the journey is the most important thing.
Porque hay de todo en este camino.
Why did I begin this journey?
El 12 de febrero hago 45 años de promesa.
Well, I'll soon have 50 years since my first promise. Many years behind me, many more to go. Let's keep going forward.
Grazie anche per queste testimonianze.
Thank you for these witnesses.
A questo punto
Now,
riteniamo che sia utile e opportuno
I think it would be good to take a little break, just to move a little bit. Don't go too far away, unless you need to take care to your biological needs, but just a couple of minutes to absorb all this.
Ok, come in un viaggio, perché noi stiamo viaggiando.
Let's go back to our trip imagery. We're doing a long trip. 150 years long. You know, the Pullman stops at the Otto's Grill.
Ma fare un momento
But it's good to take a break.
da soli e poi con la persona vicina
First by yourself, and then the person next to you, just to reflect, to share on what impressed you the most, what you liked the most in this first part of our sharing. And so, during this pause, a little bit of silence to think, and then a moment to share with your neighbor. What do you take away from this first sharing?
Un momento per interiorizzare e poi con il vicino.
A moment to interiorize and then move into your sharing with whoever is beside you.
Perché poi scendiamo e vi interroghiamo, E poi Antonio dà il voto. Antonio, che pensi? Scendo per sentire soltanto 2 riflessioni? Possiamo poi sentire? Sentiamo 2 persone, Ok, a caso.
So he's going to come around and just randomly pick people to see what you want to say.
Un aspetto?
What is one aspect? That's the identity, passing from being Salesian cooperators to cooperator Salesians.
Grazie. E allora, Giovanni, da un ex allievo.
Sentire il percorso dei fratelli maggiori è sempre.
It's good to hear the witnesses of our big brothers. We can learn many things. Now I will try to speak about being a past pupil Salesian rather than a Salesian past pupil. Now from a Salesian sister, what I liked, the emphasis on the journey as such. SDB, Salesian Sisters, ADMA, and the cooperator Salesians. In all of this journeying, the rediscovery of our identity and the awareness of being in the church as members of the Salesian family to carry a particular responsibility forward. Congratulations, you've all been very attentive. Let's listen to the novices.
Per me, soprattutto quello di...
For me, most of all, what struck me was seeing the change from Salesian cooperators to cooperator Salesians.
Io credo che la idea originale che ha avuto...
I think that the original idea that Don Bosco had, in the sense of...
Io ho bisogno di tutti.
Of him saying, I always needed everyone, that the original idea of Don Bosco embraced everyone. He didn't have just the idea of creating SDB or FFMA, but having the whole membership of the church in different vocations, collaborating for the good of young people.
Bene.
Okay.
A questo punto
now
siamo arrivati al terzo
we're at the third block of our afternoon session
e ci proiettiamo verso il futuro.
We're going to turn towards the future. As we've already alluded to, we're preparing to celebrate the 150th anniversary and the World Congress in Rome. But the point of not arriving at the Congress and we're done, but rather the Congress as a point of departure for the next several years. And so the program, the idea of having this focus on the future will be explained to us by our world cooperator, Antonio Boccia. Please, Antonio.
Buonasera a tutti.
Good afternoon, everyone.
C'è in un film di un attore.
There's a film by a Neapolitan actor who he pulls a joke. He says he's got to approach a girl and invite her to go out. So he says, I'm going to ask her if she wants to go out with me. She'll say no. I'll say, why not? And he's going through this whole conversation in his head. Finally, a moment happens. Hey, he says, do you want to go out with me? She says, yes. And he says, why? And so,
Allora io adesso vi faccio una domanda, quindi
I'm going to
attenzione.
ask you a question, so watch the answer. Huh?
Stanchi?
Are you tired?
E perché?
E perché?
Vabbè.
Okay.
Così come diceva Carlo,
As Carlo was saying,
provo a darvi qualche
let's see if I can communicate some useful indications on how our association, starting with me, is dreaming what could be the future years for us. This is not an official program. but rather the dreams and the hopes, the horizons we have, the vision we have for the future of our association. I think that in the church, things don't change just because this year, 150 anniversaries, a Estrena that seems to be really written for us, we're going to insert it into our itinerary. With tremendous joy, I'm here to speak with you today. Anybody who knows me knows my passion for the Salesian family. As a cooperator, I speak more of the Salesian family than cooperator Salesians when I do my animation worldwide. I'm going to share with you a reflection that is particularly dear to me, the role and the vocation of Salesian cooperators in today's world. This is a time of great challenges and profound transformations. Our lay vocation, an expression of Don Bosco's charism, resonates with surprising strength and relevance. We are called to be leaven, salt and light for the world, bringing the Salesian spirit into our families, our workplaces, our society as a whole, to be leaven and to be fruitful, as our 6th World Congress of 2026 will remind us. What better guide could we possibly have on this journey than the Rector Major, Don Fabio, who with his 2026 Strena invites us to meditate on a theme that is as simple as it is profound. Do whatever he tells you. This invitation puts us in the listening mode of Mary, and through her we come to Christ. In this invitation, the figure of the servant emerges, the servants at the wedding of Cana. These servants that will accompany us in this reflection and that directly challenges us as cooperators. We are today those servants, called to fill the jars of history with the water of our daily life, confident that the Lord will transform that water into new wine of hope and salvation for young people.
Vocazione del Salesiano Cooperatore,
the vocation of the cooperator Salesian, a lay consecration in the world. Who is the cooperator Salesian? What does it mean to be a lay expression of the Salesian charism? Article 2 of our Project of Apostolic Life enlightens us, saying, a specific vocation in the Church. Let us focus on this. We are not simply external collaborators, but people who, by virtue of their baptism, respond to a precise call to live the gospel and to share in the mission of the Church in the style of Don Bosco, in the world and within the world. This is our specific call. This is our strength. Our lay life. Being lay is not a diminished condition compared to the consecrated or priestly life. It is a full vocation with its own dignity and irreplaceable mission. Our cloister is the world. Our convent is the family, or the office, or the factory, or the school. It is there that we are called to live our baptismal consecration, to incarnate the preventive system, to be Don Bosco today. Our vocation does not ask us to leave the world, but to sanctify the world from within, like leaven in the dough. Our apostolate, therefore, manifests itself in everyday life. It is not so much about doing things for young people. No, it's more about being with them, being for them. Our first and foremost witness is the coherence between what we believe and what we live. If you remember what the young people told us today, that theme came out repeatedly. They want us to be coherent and authentic and therefore credible. We're called to be a living gospel, a page of the gospel written for young people, so that they can read God's ways through our lives. Our lay condition allows us to be a bridge between the church and the street, between the gospel and the concrete life of people. We speak the language of the world because we're members of the world. We live in it. We share the same challenges. We know the concerns. We know the hopes as every man and woman of our time. And precisely for this reason, our witness can be particularly incisive and credible. Another main theme, the 2026 Strenna and the Servants of Cana, icons for lay life at service. This year's Strenna, Do Whatever He Tells You, brings us back to the heart of our faith and the heart of our vocation. And the figure of the servants of Cana, in this perspective, becomes a splendid icon of our Salesian lay life. Who are the servants of Cana? They are not apostles or not disciples in the strict sense. They're ordinary people, lay people, doing their job, waiters in a restaurant. Yet they become indispensable protagonists of Jesus' first miracle. Mary does not address the disciples, she addresses them. To them she entrusts a concrete, almost banal task: fill the jars with water. Here is the greatest of our lay vocation, to be servants who, in the normality of their work and their life, collaborate in God's extraordinary work. The servants do not ask questions, they do not argue, they trust, they act. Theirs is a concrete, operative faith.
Proprio attraverso questo loro gesto di obbedienza fiduciosa il miracolo avviene. Non sono loro a trasformare l'acqua in vino, ma senza di loro il miracolo non sarebbe accaduto. Ecco la nostra vocazione, essere mediatori umili e concreti della grazia di Dio, riempire le anfore della vita dei giovani con l'acqua della nostra presenza, del nostro ascolto, della nostra amicizia, della nostra preghiera, fiduciosi che il Signore al momento opportuno trasformerà quest'acqua nel vino della gioia, del senso e della vocazione. Il sottotitolo della Strenna, Credenti liberi per servire, illumina ulteriormente la nostra identità laicale. La nostra fede ci rende liberi per servire, non in un contesto protetto, ma nel ben mezzo del mondo, con le sue contraddizioni e le sue sfide. Un servizio gratuito, generoso, che non cerca ricompense, che trova la sua gioia nel dono di sé. Come i servi di Cana siamo chiamati a servire nel silenzio, con gioia, sapendo che stiamo partecipando a un'opera più grande di noi, l'opera della salvezza di Dio. E veniamo ai nostri giovani, che sono i destinatari, l'oggetto, la condivisione della nostra missione, non solo dei salesiani cooperatori, ma di tutta la famiglia salesiana. Li vediamo ogni giorno nelle nostre case, nelle nostre parrocchie, nelle nostre città.
As we come to our beloved young people, we see them every day in our homes, in our parishes, in our cities. Often they appear disoriented, fragile, desperately seeking for meaning. They are hungry and thirsty for authenticity. And here, our lay condition becomes a privileged channel of communication and witness. Why should a young people listen to us? Because our life is similar to theirs. Because we face the same challenges: job, insecurity, the complexity of relationships, raising children, managing family finances. When a young person sees a father, a teacher, a doctor, a worker, who lives his faith with joy and coherence, who finds in the gospel the strength to love and to forgive and to hope, well, that witness has an enormous impact. It is living proof that Christianity is not an abstract theory, but a force that transforms real life. Vocational accompaniment for a Salesian cooperator is a way of life. It's the ability to stand beside young people with respect and loving kindness, to listen to their questions, to share their joys and their struggles. It's the art of being, as the document on our mission reminds us. Friends in the playground, confidants, people who know them and share their problems. Our lay condition makes us naturally close and accessible. We're not on a pedestal. We are travel companions. And this creates a climate of trust that is essential for every journey of human and spiritual growth. Young people do not ask us to be perfect. No, they need us to be real. As Juan Vecchi said, we must present ourselves as a place of warm experience of God. Our life, with its joys and struggles, with its lights and shadows, can become for young people a concrete sign that is worth trusting God and betting one's life on the gospel. The fourth and final section of our reflection today, the mature choice of young people and our commitment. When a young person sees our life, when they feel attracted to the Salesian life and ask to become a cooperator, we witness a little miracle. It is a mature and conscious response to a personal call from God. It's a discovery that one's life can become a gift, a masterpiece, if lived in union with Christ and at the service of brothers and sisters, according to Don Bosco's charism. The apostolic promise, which marks entry into the association, is not crossing the finish line. It is the starting point. It's a yes that involves the whole existence, a commitment to live baptism with evangelical radicality, to work for the kingdom of God, especially for the promotion and salvation of young people. Let's ask ourselves, how can we, Salesian cooperators and the whole Salesian family, favor these mature vocational choices? Allow me to offer some concrete suggestions. There are 5. 1. Let us create homes that welcome. Our oratories, our parishes, our local centers must increasingly be places where young people feel at home, listened to without judgment, loved for who they are.
Io le chiamo oasi di speranza.
I call them oases of hope.
Proponiamo esperienze di servizio
Point number 2, let's propose strong service experiences. Let us involve them in concrete outreach experiences, especially towards the poorest. Offer them service in a school of life and faith. Point number 3, let us offer a community witness. Accompaniment is never a solitary act. It's the entire community that educates, consecrated Salesians, Salesian sisters, cooperators, past pupils, and so on, which, with its fraternal life and apostolic passion, becomes a living vocational proposal. Point 4, let us train lay accompagners, lay people to accompany the young. Let us courageously invest in the formation of Salesian cooperators as spiritual guides and those who accompany the young. Our lay condition is an immense richness. We can show young people that holiness is possible in everyday life. And finally, let us value the beauty of the lay vocation. Let's present the choice of being a Salesian cooperator not as a fallout option, but as a fascinating and radical vocation. Let us tell the stories of the many saints next door who, as cooperators, have made the world fruitful through their active faith. And so we conclude, my friends. Let's look at this slide just for a minute. The charism of Don Bosco is alive and fruitful. Each new vocation is the tangible proof that the Spirit is alive. So, my friends, my time is up. I want to leave you with an image and a pressing invitation. The image, of course, is that of the jars of Cana, empty and waiting. These jars are the hearts of today's young people, hearts that are too often empty because an individualistic and ephemeral culture has progressively emptied them of their most authentic vitality, filling their lives with proposals that promise cheap happiness. But this is the end. This, in the end, leaves only a sense of emptiness and meaninglessness. They are jars waiting for the pure water of truth and love to be fulfilled. And here, Mary's invitation resounds, an invitation that is also a mission. Do whatever he tells you. Let us rediscover the beauty and the relevance of our vocation as cooperator Salesians. Let us not be afraid to be humble and generous servants. Let us put at God's disposal our life, our family, our work, our time. Let us fill the jars of history with the water of our daily faithfulness. The Lord will do the rest, and the new wine of His grace will bring joy and hope to the whole world. Thank you.
Grazie Antonio.
Thank you, Antonio.
A tutti I relatori, a Italo, a Borca,
Thank you to all the relators who spoke to us,
e a coloro che hanno accettato di offrirci la loro testimonianza, la loro
in a
esperienza.
special way to those who offered their personal testimony.
Avviando verso la
So we're towards the end now of our session. Allow me just to add this, a word of thanks
tempi, no, in una
that we stayed within the time parameters,
è sopportabile da tutti.
and so we're grateful.
Ma prima di
But at the same time, before wrapping up, we have a little surprise.
stiamo preparando questo congresso.
We are preparing for this Congress in May. Moa Borja spoke to us, the logo and all of that.
Ma abbiamo
But at the heart of it, we have prepared,
da un gruppo di noi
by a group of us, a hymn
che vi vogliamo
that we'd
offrire
like to present to you now as a little worldwide appetizer for the eventual Congress in May this spring. This hymn,
che è stato composto
which was composed in various languages,
no, in lingue diverse,
each of the verses written in different languages, you can find it in your booklets on page 32 of the guidebook. 32 of the guidebook.
allora chiedo
And so I would ask the techie people to please play the video for the upcoming 6th World Congress of the Salesian Cooperators.
Don Bosco told me that love is dead again, and every gesture of love God walks with us again. No camino por mi cuenta, voy con muchos más que yo. Una familia que se entrega con la fuerza del amor. Es la misión, la esperanza que nos anima a continuar. Aquel sueño que el loco hizo la semilla germinar. Es un sí que nos convoca, una promesa de corazón. Salesianos cooperadores, tú y yo somos la misión. Es un sí que nos convoca, una promesa de corazón. Salesianos cooperadores, tú y yo somos la misión. Somos la misión. We are the mission. Somos la misión. We are the mission. Somos la misión. We are the mission. Siamo la misión. Siamo la misione. Siamo la misione. Nelle scuole e nel cortile ritorniamo a rivere. Siamo parte di una storia che continua a battere. Nuestra casa está en el barrio, en la calle o en el taller. El carisma salesiano, siempre esperanza, sembramos fe. Avec Marie ou Sylvia l'espérance avec bien. Dans un mal, de notre cœur, nous cherchons bien inné. È un sim que nos convoca, una promesa del corazón. Salesianos cooperadores, somos juntos esa misión. È un sim que nos convoca, una promesa del corazón. Salesianos cooperadores, somos juntos esa misión. Es un sí que nos convoca, una promesa de corazón. Salesianos cooperadores, tú y yo somos la visión. Es un sí que nos convoca, una promesa de corazón. Salesianos cooperadores, tú y yo somos la visión. Somos llamados y enviados por Jesús a los más pobres, a los necesitados. La esperanza de un futuro nuevo es nuestra misión. Es un sí que nos convoca, una promesa de corazón. Salesianos cooperadores, tú y yo somos la misión.
A questo punto io chiedo a Don Fabio.
And so I'd now like to invite Father Fabio, if he could give us a word or two.
Faccio un'altra volta la domanda di prima. Siete stanchi?
Are you guys tired? No. And why are you? No. He's joking with us. Here comes the Rector Major, offering a few words. Thank you. Very few words, and they are sincere words of thanks to all that you have shared with us this afternoon. The history, I see in your presentation that it's good to remember the past so we can recalibrate our heart with what is a legacy left to us and also a blueprint for the future. This morning, also, that we had the session with the young people, I want to thank them for their witnesses, because what we just heard now is a continuation of what they opened up this morning. You have very much underlined, and I'm delighted that you did, some of the central themes that were already so beautifully put to us by the young, a continuity of priorities. And so this then is also a continuation of what we did yesterday, deepening the word, the witnesses of our saints, the troncati among them. Tomorrow, I will have the occasion to conclude these days, but there are some very firm bases being laid here that are emerging from the witnesses that we are receiving. And I believe that the theme of this year, the theme of faith, was providential, certainly. Providence of God, as we're celebrating the 150th anniversary of the cooperators.
Quello che ascoltiamo da parte vostra, quello che ascoltiamo, quello che Dio ci sta comunicando, ma soprattutto
what we heard from you and what God is communicating to us and what the young people are asking us comes to a convergence. And so again, I renew my gratitude. I wish you a rich journey towards the anniversary and well beyond. We've had the chance just now to listen deeply to the experience of the cooperators, but I can assure you that there is much more than this. And all of the groups, the lay theme, lay groups, their dynamism, their conviction, congregation-wide, male and female, who are really inspired by the charism, working well together, even with the SDBs and the FMAs. So a sincere word of thanks to you. Tomorrow we'll go deeper into some of the points that you offered us today. Thank you.
Come si dice in questi casi, da programma.
So according to our schedule, I would invite to the stage those responsible for the, I'm not sure which exhibits he's referring to. There are some exhibits that were prepared, and he's calling to the stage those who helped prepare them.
L'hanno fatta la foto. Perfetto. Grazie a tutti.
Thank you, everybody.
Salesiani cooperatori. Allora, noi dobbiamo dire ancora qualche cosa, giusto?
Sì, so, what do we have to tell these folks? Some announcements. At 18:20, 6:20 tonight, everybody is invited to know the different groups, the lay groups of the Salesian family, and they are on display as indicated. You're invited to go as a language group to the room that has been assigned to you on page 33 of your guidebook.
Il gruppo si sposterà alla sala nella seguente visita. Ogni visita avrà una durata di circa 30 minuti.
11 minutes for each visit. Make sure you go to the one in the language that you understand, indicated on page 33 of your program.
Ex allievi di Don Bosco.
So they're just going through the list of groups and the room where they are to be found. You can simply go to whatever group and room has been indicated for your language group.
C'è un cambio.
C'è un cambio, venga.
C'è un cambio indietro.
Oh, there's a change coming on, unexpected.
Ci sono 2 gruppi in più.
Okay, 2 new groups.
Don Playa.
Don Playa, please, come, Don Playa.
Allora, per ora iniziamo.
Anyway, for now, let's begin with the ones we have. There are 2 groups to be announced, so don't panic. They will come.
È il velo della diretta.
È il velo della diretta.
That's part of going live. Let's do this.
Abbiamo quindi questi stand. Non li leggiamo.
A stand is an exhibit. So, page 33, you'll find them all listed. on your guidebook.
Gruppi che siamo in fase di definizione per capire quali sono e in che posto andranno. Ecco,
ci sono anche orari differenti a seconda del gruppo, giusto?
Esattamente.
Per esempio alle 17:20 ITA 1, 2, 3, alle 18 Italia 4, 5, 6, alle 18:40 inglesi 4, 5, 6 inglesi.
Esatto. Quindi aspettiamo che arrivino informazioni sugli ultimi due gruppi, quindi fino alle ore 17:20 comunque è tempo.
Anyway, please look at that list on page 33. Identify the language group you belong to, the room you're invited to go to, and the time slot that is dedicated to your group.
Alle ore 17:20 puntuali partono le visite.
Ok, sta arrivando.
At 5:20 the gifts or
Così ci spiega tutto.
the visits start.
Intanto ricordiamo, dato che l'abbiamo
As we wait for Father Playa,
delle palline
let's remind you that there are little
Eccole qui.
little decorations at the back of the theater on sale, and the
del Medio Oriente.
proceeds from these clackers, whatever they are, will help the needs of the Middle East province, and we know how needy they are right now.
Di sottofondo, perché non sappiamo dov'è Don Jean-Louis.
Esatto.
Father Juan Luis is gone missing in action.